Hey UCM, welcome to my basement. I'm sad that we can't be together right now because of COVID, but I'm glad that we're still continuing to meet together through our Thursday nights. And so I'm excited to lead today's devotional. And so as I've been thinking and praying for our community, the passage that came to mind for me is from Jeremiah 29. And as soon as it came to me, I needed to have a little bit of prayer with God. And, just because I think we've all heard that passage that says that God has plans for us, plans to prosper us and not to harm us, plans to give us a hope and a future. And sometimes I know for myself, whenever I hear that passage, I just quickly not really think about it because I've heard it so many times. But I think it's really important for us in this moment. And something for us to understand is that passage was actually written to a people during a time of exile. It was a time of turbulence, a time of many uncertainties, and a time when they had no idea what was ahead. And so I think it's very important for us to just cling to that right now. That these words of God are words of comfort for us, especially as we do find ourselves in a season of life where it is very turbulent and we don't know what's ahead. And so in this context, I feel like maybe in the past when we would hear these words, it would just, kind of pass us by and not really pay attention to it because we've heard it so much. But I think now it's really important for us to cling to it, that God, the God of the heavens and of the earth, the God that loves us, has a hope and a future for each one of us, even as we go through a very, very strange time in history. And so I will read the passage to you and we'll just get right to it. This is Jeremiah 29. I'll start in verse 10 if you want to follow along. For thus says the Lord, when 70 years are completed for Babylon, I will visit you, and I will fulfill to you my promise and bring you back to this place. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and hope. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and I will restore your fortunes and gather you from all the nations and all the places where I have driven you, declares the Lord. And I will bring you back to the place from which I sent you into exile. It was a very uncertain and unprecedented time when God spoke this word of hope and encouragement to his people. And today, even though we're not exiles, we are experiencing turmoil and turbulence through the massive changes that we've undergone due to the pandemic. Some of us had to quickly pack our bags and head home. Some are scattered across the province, some are out in the East Coast, but some of us are all over the world. We, in a way, have been exiled from what was once normal to us. And now we find ourselves in a very strange season where we don't really know what's ahead and we have no idea what the future will look like. I believe that it is in this very strange hour that God actually wants to give us a word of hope and encouragement. That although we are uncertain of what the next few weeks, months, maybe even year will look like, we can anchor our hope and our future in the God who promises to take care of us, come what may. Now, a bit of a disclaimer. I'm not saying that we're not going to go through trouble. I'm not saying that we won't go through difficult times, because I'm sure that some of us are already going through that as we speak. But what I'm saying is that God is with us through the ups and downs of life, and that God has not forgotten his promise to take care of us. God still has plans for us, for each one of us, for our welfare, our well-being, for our good, and that he does have plans to give us a future and a hope. And ultimately, our hope is not only for this life, though God definitely wants to bring healing and reconciliation in the here and now. But our hope ultimately is in the life to come with Jesus, where he promises to wipe away every tear from our eyes and to bring healing to our bodies and all of creation. So yes, we do find ourselves in a very strange time in history at the moment, and this makes me think of a passage from Acts 17 that says, "The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth, and he does not live in temples built by human hands, and he is not served by human hands as if he needed anything. Rather, he himself gives everyone life, breath, and everything else. From one man he made all nations that they should inhabit the whole earth. He marked out their appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands. God did this so that they would seek him and perhaps reach out for him and find him, though he is not far from any one of us. For in him we live, we move, and we have our being." Jesus is not shocked that we are living through a pandemic. In fact, he has appointed in our time in history that it so happens that you and I are living through the time of COVID-19. What does that mean for us? I think it means calling to God and clinging to him at this time. I think it means understanding that this is not a dress rehearsal for our faith, but it is a very real moment for us. The question is, will we cling to Jesus at this time? Will we anchor our hope in him? Or will we be swept away by the very real anxieties of our days, or even numb ourselves to be able to get through this turbulent time? I think this challenges us to faithfulness to Jesus, a calling to abide in him and to continue to shine his light even amidst very real uncertainties. So you see, this is the challenge that God has given us right now. Will we cling to God in this time, or will we be swept away by the anxieties of our days? And I pray that we would hold fast to him, that we would call to him, and like the passage that's in Jeremiah that says, when we call to him, he will hear us. And so that's my prayer for us, is that we will call to God and that we would cling to him at this time. And so hear these words of comfort. You are loved by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. He is with you through the ups and downs, through the deep valleys and mountaintop experiences of life. He is steadfast through the storm. And my prayer for you and for myself is that we will cling to him as our firm foundation, and that we'll get to the other side of the pandemic, because I believe and trust that there will be another side. That we will get to the other side knowing that our future and our hope is secure in him. Blessings to you guys.